You won't believe what happened behind the kitchen doors of a high-end VIP restaurant, where tensions boiled over faster than the dinner rush. A furious chef, known for his demanding nature, unexpectedly fired an Asian cook. But that's just the start of this explosive story. What happened next flips everything upside down, revealing a shocking racist outburst that sets the stage for an unforgettable twist of sweet revenge. If you've ever wondered how someone can turn a toxic situation around in the most unexpected way, you're about to get every detail you came here for. Stick with me, because this story isn't just about conflict in a kitchen. It's about power, pride, and justice that hits harder than you'd think. You'll meet characters driven by pride and prejudice, facing off in a battle where words cut as deeply as knives. This isn't a simple firing. It's a story loaded with raw emotion and a surprising payback you'll want to see unfold. So stay right here, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how a moment of anger sparked a chain reaction no one saw coming, and why it's so important to watch closely. But before I reveal what happens next, let me warn. What you're about to hear will challenge everything you thought you knew about standing up to hate. Ready to find out how justice was served hot and fast? Keep watching, because the truth behind this furious chef's meltdown and the cook's unforgettable comeback is coming up next. Behind the polished glass walls of one of the city's most exclusive restaurants, the kitchen was a world all its own, loud, chaotic, and fiercely competitive. Everyone there was playing a high-stakes game, where the smallest mistake could cost a job or reputation. The furious chef who ruled this realm was notorious, known both for his brilliance and his merciless temper. But beneath that hard exterior was a man whose pride was tangled with insecurity, and whose sharp words could slice deeper than any knife in his arsenal. The Asian cook, fresh on the scene yet already making waves with his quiet skill and steady hands, had quickly become a target. His calm demeanor clashed with the fiery energy that filled the kitchen, and soon, a simmering tension began to bubble to the surface. What no one saw coming was just how dark and ugly this pressure cooker of a workplace could get, and how one snap decision would spiral into something far more complicated and deeply human. From the outside, the restaurant sparkled like a gem. VIP guests, celebrity appearances, and flawless service. But behind the scenes, there were whispers of bias and unspoken grudges, of cultural clashes and fragile egos. The fired cook wasn't just any employee. He represented more than his job title. To some, he was a symbol of persistence, breaking through barriers that others accepted as permanent. To others, he was an unwelcome challenge to the status quo. What unfolded next was less about the food and more about respect, identity, and the line between authority and cruelty. It wasn't just a story about a firing. It was a tangled web of emotions, prejudices, and a thirst for justice that most kitchens never reveal. The chef's outburst didn't just shock the staff. It sparked a ripple effect that would challenge loyalties, expose hidden fractures, and draw unlikely allies into a battle that no one was ready for. There was the Sioux chef, caught in the middle, torn between loyalty to the head chef and a growing sense of unease about how things were escalating. She knew the pressures better than anyone, having clawed her way up from the bottom, but even she hadn't anticipated the ugliness that the firing would unleash. On the other side, the restaurant manager was trying to keep everything under control, balancing the demands of demanding VIP clients and the fragile morale of a team fraying at the edges. Outside the kitchen, a delivery driver with his own story watched the fallout unfold with growing concern. Someone who knew that sometimes justice was found in the smallest, most unexpected places. As the fired cook faced the aftermath of the racist tirade hurled at him, the kitchen became a battleground where words and actions were weapons, and silence could mean complicity. Rumors began to swirl. Social media buzzed quietly at first, then louder as the story leaked beyond the restaurant's doors. Everyone was waiting for the fallout, but no one could predict the clever, quiet moves that would turn this tale from one of bitterness into something no one saw coming. Revenge in this case was not about anger. It was about reclaiming dignity and forcing those responsible to face the consequences in ways they never imagined. There were moments when the kitchen seemed like it might implode under the weight of its own secrets, staff meetings that felt more like interrogations, whispered alliances formed in the shadows, and a palpable sense of something breaking through the carefully maintained surface. Each character's backstory started to peel away layers of motivation and pain. The chef's history of struggle and unrecognized talent, the cook's own sacrifices and dreams, the sous chef's fight for her place in a male-dominated industry, and the manager's quiet battle to keep a sinking ship afloat. Every conversation and glance carried weight. Every decision rippled out with unforeseen consequences. Amid all this, an unexpected subplot unfolded when the restaurant's owner, largely unseen until now, began to take a more active role. Known for a cool, calculated approach to business, his involvement raised the stakes higher. Was he going to back the head chef's authority, or would he side with justice and risk alienating the kitchen's toughest player? Meanwhile, a local food blogger started catching wind of the drama, their curiosity turning into a deeper investigation that threatened to expose the truth to an even wider audience. The stakes extended beyond the restaurant's walls, touching on issues of race, power, and what it truly means to stand up in the face of injustice. Through it all, viewers like you are left asking, how far will people go to defend their pride? What's the cost of silence? And when does sweet revenge cross the line into something darker? The tension keeps mounting with every passing moment, making it impossible to look away. So, stick with this story, because the layers are only just beginning to unfold, and the answers you crave are coming in ways that no one expects. As the fallout from the fiery chef's explosive outburst rippled through the restaurant, the tension that once simmered beneath the surface now boiled over with a force no one could contain. The Asian cook, who had been quietly enduring the pressure, found himself at the center of a storm far beyond what a simple firing could provoke. But what shocked everyone wasn't just the public revelation of a racist tirade. It was what came next. The chain reaction that neither the chef nor the staff had anticipated. Whispers of retaliation spread, but this wasn't going to be a petty grudge match or an anonymous complaint filed and forgotten. The cook had a plan, and it was one built not on fury alone, but on a cunning sense of justice that cut through the noise and struck directly at the heart of the kitchen's power structure. Meanwhile, the sous chef, who had always played it safe, found herself wrestling with her own conscience. For years, she had watched the head chef wield his authority like a weapon, silencing dissent with harsh words and cutting criticism. But now, faced with the undeniable truth of what had happened, her loyalty began to fracture. She started observing the dynamics differently, questioning the culture she had once accepted as normal. The struggle within her mirrored the larger battle brewing, a fight not just over who was right or wrong, but over who would ultimately control the story and the future of the restaurant. She was no longer a bystander. The choices she made next would have far-reaching consequences, and deep down she knew it. The manager's role grew even more complicated as VIP guests started to sense the tension behind the impeccable service. Rumors trickled out beyond the staff, seeping into social media feeds and local gossip circles. The restaurant's reputation, built painstakingly over years, was at risk. But the manager, despite the mounting pressure, remained focused on damage control. She coordinated behind the scenes, juggling the demands of high-profile clients while trying to maintain a fragile peace among the staff. The strain was visible in her eyes, a silent testament to the heavy burden of leadership when everything seems to be unraveling at once. No one realized just how close the entire operation was to collapsing, and yet, she refused to give in. Unexpectedly, the delivery driver, often overlooked and underestimated, emerged as a key figure in the unfolding drama. Quiet and observant, he had seen more than anyone else, glimpsing the subtle power plays and unspoken alliances forming in the shadows. His own story was one of resilience and hope, a reminder that sometimes the smallest players could shift the course of the game. when he overheard conversations that suggested the chef's actions were part of a deeper, more sinister pattern of discrimination, he made a decision that would change everything. Instead of staying silent, he started recording snippets of conversations and gathering evidence, cautiously, so as not to raise suspicion. What began as a quiet act of defiance soon took on a life of its own, threatening to expose secrets that many wanted to keep buried. At the same time, the restaurant owner, whose presence had been largely symbolic until now, stepped into the spotlight with an announcement that stunned everyone. Far from backing the chef's authority outright, he revealed that he had initiated an internal investigation. His motivations were unclear. Was this a genuine attempt to address the toxic culture, or a strategic move to protect the brand and limit fallout? His involvement added a new layer of intrigue, introducing questions about loyalty, ambition, and the true cost of power in a cutthroat industry. The staff watched nervously, unsure if he was an ally or another player in a dangerous game where the stakes kept rising. Adding to the complexity, the local food blogger who had begun digging deeper into the story published a teaser that hinted at corruption and cover-ups within the restaurant's management. The blog post went viral overnight, drawing attention from viewers hungry for drama, justice, and scandal. Suddenly, the restaurant was no longer just a kitchen. It was a battlefield of ideas, where issues of race, respect, and authority clashed with the desire for survival and success. Comments poured in, with viewers debating who was right, who deserved sympathy, and what justice should look like. The story tapped into a larger conversation happening nationwide, making it impossible to ignore. Amid this escalating chaos, an unexpected twist unfolded that threw everyone off balance. Evidence surfaced suggesting that the head chef himself had been the target of his own secret vendetta. Years of jealousy and sabotage from a rival within the industry. This revelation complicated the narrative, blurring the lines between villain and victim. It became clear that the kitchen was a microcosm of larger systemic issues, where ambition, resentment, and prejudice intertwined in ways no one could fully untangle. The Asian cook's revenge plan, now in motion, wasn't just about personal vindication. It was about exposing a web of lies and forcing the truth into the harsh light of day. As the video camera rolls and social media followers climb, the question lingers: who will come out on top when the smoke clears? How far will people go to protect their secrets? And what sacrifices will be made in the name of justice? The story is far from over, and every new revelation only tightens the suspense, pushing all the players toward a climax none of them saw. Coming? This isn't just about one kitchen or one firing. It's a raw, real reflection of power, identity, and the cost of standing up in a world that often prefers silence. Keep watching closely, because what happens next will change everything you thought you knew about revenge, justice, and the true meaning of respect. The atmosphere in the restaurant grew thicker by the day, the kind of tension that you could almost slice through with a knife. The staff had all but split into factions, each person quietly choosing sides as the battle between the furious VIP chef and the Asian cook morphed into something far bigger than anyone expected. The Asian cook's quiet strength and strategic moves had shaken the very foundation of the kitchen hierarchy, revealing not just the toxic undercurrents, but also a resilience few had given him credit for. He wasn't just fighting for his job anymore. He was fighting for respect, for justice, and for dignity in a world that often tried to strip those away with a casual insult or a dismissive glance. Meanwhile, the chef, once so untouchable, was losing his grip, his rage turning into desperation as cracks in his armor became impossible to hide. The sous chef, who had wrestled with her own doubts and loyalties, finally stepped out of the shadows. Her decision to stand with the Asian cook wasn't just an act of defiance. It was a powerful statement that the culture of silence was breaking, that no one would be complicit in injustice any longer. Her voice, once subdued, now carried the weight of truth, shaking the walls of the restaurant and forcing the management to confront realities they had long ignored. As she shared her first-hand experiences and witnessed the support from the team, it became clear that the restaurant was on the brink of transformation or total collapse. The manager, sensing the fragile balance tipping, scrambled to contain the damage but realized that containment was no longer possible. Instead, she began facilitating honest conversations, organizing mediation sessions, and advocating for a fair investigation into the allegations. The owner's involvement, initially met with skepticism, started to feel genuine as he made a public commitment to overhaul the restaurant's culture and ensure accountability. He brought in external consultants and diversity experts to assess the situation and recommend changes, actions that sparked hope among the staff and sent a clear message to the VIP clients that this was more than a scandal. It was a reckoning. Meanwhile, the delivery driver's recordings became the smoking gun. His courage in documenting the truth provided undeniable proof of the head chef's racist outburst and the systemic discrimination simmering beneath the surface. The viral blog post and growing social media attention amplified the story's reach, drawing in viewers from across the country who resonated with the themes of resilience, workplace justice, and standing up to abuse. The comment section flooded with messages of support for the Asian cook and the sous chef, sparking national conversations about race, power, and respect in professional kitchens and beyond. Just when it seemed like the story was reaching a resolution, the unexpected twist shattered the fragile peace. Evidence surfaced revealing that the Asian cook had been quietly gathering support, not only within the kitchen, but outside of it, connecting with local activists and labor organizers who had been monitoring workplace abuses in the hospitality industry. The chef's downfall wasn't just personal vengeance, it was part of a broader movement to demand dignity and equity for marginalized workers everywhere. This revelation transformed the narrative from a singular tale of revenge to a powerful symbol of collective action and change. In the final confrontation, the head chef was called to a formal hearing, where the staff, management, and community members gathered to hear testimonies. The Asian cook spoke with calm confidence, his story no longer just about his pain, but about a vision for a fairer future. The sous chef's testimony solidified the case, while the delivery driver's recordings and the public outcry created an undeniable call for accountability. The chef's defense crumbled, and he was ultimately removed from his position, facing consequences that extended beyond the kitchen walls. Yet the resolution went deeper than just one firing. The restaurant launched a comprehensive cultural overhaul, instituting mandatory diversity training, creating open forums for employee feedback, and establishing clear protocols to prevent future abuses. The once toxic kitchen began healing, transformed by the courage of those who refused to stay silent. The story left a lasting impression, not just for the drama and scandal, but for the reminder that true strength lies in resilience, unity, and the willingness to stand up for what is right, even when the stakes are high. As the restaurant reopened with renewed energy, the Asian cook was offered a leadership role in shaping its future culture, symbolizing the change from oppression to empowerment. The sous chef took on a mentorship role, guiding others to find their voices. The delivery driver, once unnoticed, became a community hero for his bravery, and the owner's reputation shifted from a silent bystander to a proactive champion for justice, proving that accountability can come at every level. In the end, this wasn't just a story about a chef firing an employee or a racist outburst. It was a testament to the power of standing tall in the face of injustice, the impact of collective courage, and the undeniable truth that respect in any workplace is not optional, but essential. The battle was fierce, the scars real, but the victory was greater than any one individual. It belonged to everyone who dared to demand a better, more inclusive world. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of inner strength and resilience. Until next time, stay strong, stay brave, and never forget your worth.